Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast. We go over all of the top stories and exciting products shared over on our site, stack.com, from the past week. This episode is going to go up a little bit late. However, it is jam-packed as there was quite a bit of supplements and excitement shared last week. And we're going to kick this episode off with news from Chaos Crew, the UK brand, who didn't have all that many products at the moment. They can, however, be found all over the world, including the likes of Australia and throughout Europe. And last week they announced 3 entirely new products. And all 3 of these are quite, well, not quite unique, but quite different and far from your typical pre-workout and fat burner. The first one is Pumping Aminos, which, as per its name, is a sort of a hybrid supplement that combines pump ingredients with a full blend of all 9 EAAs. You get 8 grams of EAAs per serving alongside coconut water. And to take care of the pump side of things, you get Vasodrive AP and the S7 blend. The other 2 items the brand shared, one of them is actually very similar. It's a pump related called Glycerswell. This one is slightly simpler than Pumping Aminos. It is purely a pump supplement, and it features just 2 ingredients to basically enhance pumps, and that is glycosize, glycerol, and taurine. And the catch with this one, the Glycerswell, is that it's very easy to stack. Because it's such a simple formula, you can pretty much combine it with most other pre-workout stimulant or not, including Chaos Crew's own pre-workout Bring the Chaos, to add those extra pumps to the experience. And the third and final new supplement announced from Chaos Crew last week is called Suppress. Now, while the other 2 were more pump related, this one is more weight loss orientated. As per its name, Suppress, it is a appetite suppression control formula. So the goal basically is to help suppress appetite with a non-stimulant combination of ingredients. And much like Glycerswell, you can pretty much stack it with most other fat burning supplements, including Chaos Crew's own fat burners, which they have in cuts and shreds. Cuts and shred. But the idea is simply just to add that extra support for appetite suppression to make for a more complete experience, or you can just take it by itself. The list of ingredients for that one is a little more complex in Glycerswell, with quite a few features in there, with apple cider vinegar, Garcinia, African mango. You can check out the full list on the website. But yeah, all of those supplements were unveiled last week, and they're going to be available, I believe it's within the next few weeks in the UK. So they're all expected to hit the market all around the same time. I believe it's early to mid-February, so it won't be long before all of those start popping up over in the UK and anywhere else the brand is sold and also decides to grab it. We go from Chaos Crew over to our brand of the year for 2019 with Inspired. Now, one of the many products Inspired launched in 2019 was Devastate BBD. It was one of the most talked about pre-workouts throughout the year because we heard whispers, we had samples, and then we eventually saw it hit the market, but as an exclusive to Australia. So it never saw the US, it never saw UK or Europe. It was made exclusively for Inspired's Australian fans. And it packed a pretty intense formula. Very different from, well, not very different, but quite different from the Devastate Worldwide, which we saw a little later, and the regular Devastate. But it's basically loaded with ingredients for a more stimulating experience, I guess. There's Aerogenesis, solid amount of caffeine at 375 milligrams, English walnuts in the mix, teacrines in the mix. So it's got just a more, like I said, stimulating mix of ingredients. And so the news on that front, or from Inspired, is that supplement is going to be reformulated or tweaked slightly. It's currently, I believe, out of stock in Australia, but it's coming back. And it's going to have just a couple of changes. They've removed the Aerogenesis as well as hordenine. But everything else is pretty much the same. They've added a new ingredient as well, I think. You can check it out on the site, and it's a branded one. I think it's Canna East, and everything else is the same. So you still get 6 grams of pure citrulline for pumps, that 365 milligrams of caffeine, and 250 milligrams of English walnut. And it will be available, I believe it's launching in 5 flavors, whereas the original only came in 3. So it's going to maintain those 3 originals of Concord Candy, Laguna Sunrise, and Northern Lights. And it's going to be joined by 2 entirely new flavors with Candy Cloud and Black Nebula. So again, you can check out the full details on those over on the site. We've got a breaking down about what's changed. But as mentioned, it was those few tweaks. From Inspired, we actually go to another award winner from our Brand of the Year Awards in 2019, and that is Mark Lobleiner's functional brand Outright. And so last week, Mark kind of blew the lid off 2 new products for his Outright brand, and surprisingly they weren't new flavors. Not that new flavors aren't great, but in 2019 that is primarily what we saw from Outright, was new flavors of its real food based protein bar. And while none of them disappointed, it is cool to see something different, and that is exactly what we got this past week, as Outright announced 2 new versions of the Outright bar. Now these aren't flavors, they're new versions, and one of them is a nut-free version that's made with sunflower seed butter. Very much same kind of formula and idea, only real food ingredients, 17 grams of protein. And there was a higher protein version announced called the Outright Crisp Bar. Now this one is, from what we've been told, is pretty much the same thing as the regular Outright, but it's filled with crispy pieces that help push it up to a higher amount of protein. And of course they will add a little bit of interesting benefit with the taste, I guess, as the Outright bar is a very smooth, melt in your mouth type snack. The crispy pieces should be quite interesting to see how they merge and mix up with their crispy little consistency. And those 2 products will be coming, hit the market soon. I don't believe they're out just yet, but both coming soon, and will be available through the usual outlets such as like Tiger Fitness and all its many other partners. From Outright, we go to the fat fueling brand, is F-Bomb, and they were also one of our nominees for Functional Brand of the Year for 2019, which is, of course, was a category Outright one. F-Bomb is pretty much, as we said, it's a brand that's all about fat as fuel. All their snacks are kind of, and products are all very fat orientated, fat heavy, with on-the-go nut butters, on-the-go oils. And last week they basically introduced their first ever protein bar. Not protein bar, but snack bar. So while they have got several other products out there, a traditional bar is not something they've ever done. And they've introduced what they've called the Real Food Snack Bar, which is basically a packet of 2 pieces, 2 little pieces of like kind of disc-shaped, teardrop shape bites, and they're, as you guessed it, high in fat with 20 grams across the 2 pieces. Moderate protein with 6 grams and 8 grams of net carbs, with only 6 grams of that sugar for 240 calories. Now, they are seem like to have a very interesting little consistency. They're made with almonds, hazelnuts, whole egg, honey, and cocoa. We actually ordered some purely because I'm interested to see what they taste like. They look kind of like just little cookies, really. But of course, you have that twist of being high fat, moderate protein. You can check them out on the site. They're available in just the one flavor at the moment, with chocolate hazelnut. We should have a review up soon. As mentioned, we ordered some, and we'll hopefully be getting that up review online at some point in the future. Next, we have another functional brand, and that is actually a brand that's been around for a while, and that is Legendary Foods. Now, if you haven't come across them before, previously, in fact, still, they're mostly known for their nut-type snacks with nut butters and just little packets of nuts. And their new product that they announced, we shared details on last week, is just very different from anything else in their lineup, with the tasty pastry. So what it is exactly is it's basically like a Pop-Tart style snack, except being from a health company like Legendary Foods, it has a healthy twist. So it is high in protein, low in sugar, carbs. It's very similar to I think it's the Smart Tart that we shared before. Basically a toaster pastry with a healthy twist on it. They launched, I believe it was not that long ago, I can't remember exactly, but they managed to sell the product completely out in 4 hours. So the demand for this one and their reach was pretty damn good. We actually managed to get some sent to us, so hopefully, much like the F-Bomb snack bar, we'll have the review up on that one soon, and I'm really interested just to see how it tastes. While I never actually got to try the Smart Tart, which is from a much newer company, I am very interested to see how good Legendary Foods tasty pastry turns out, purely because, as mentioned, they're a much longer running, reputable company, and have to imagine it's going to be a pretty damn good snack, especially for them to sell out as quickly as they did. It's the exact profile on a single pastry is 9 grams of protein, 21 grams of carbs with 8 of that fiber, 4 grams of allulose, and less than a gram of that sugar, and 13 fat for 170 calories. So it's not super high in protein like your typical bar, and it's just kind of high in calories. If you were to kind of scale that up and compare it to a bar, you're looking at between 300 to 400 calories, obviously, to get the same amount of protein as you would in a protein bar. But again, the taste, I believe, on this one is what it's going to make up for that higher density of calories. The product launched in 2 flavors, strawberry and brown sugar cinnamon, but as mentioned, they are sold out at the moment. More stock is due to return soon to their website. But you can check out that one again, like all the others. Go to Stack3d.com and you can get a closer look. The last 2 stories we have are both more sports nutrition supplement related. And the first story is actually from bodybuilding.com. Now, if you remember, I think it was a few weeks ago, maybe the end of last year, bodybuilding.com posted a teaser that hinted at the return of Scream, which is a stimulant pre-workout that the brand had, or the online store had, a long, long time ago under its own brand, under what was called the Platinum Series. All we saw was that it was a teaser, and we could kind of make out a few letters that suggested that they would be bringing back their pre-workout Scream. And this past week, that supplement did indeed make its full return, full unveiling, confirming all of its ingredients and details. And as suspected, that pre-workout, the original pre-workout from bodybuilding.com, has returned and is now available through the website. Much like the original, the brand has loaded it with full doses, common pre-workout ingredients, and one of the, I guess, standouts, or at least one of the unique features of it, is that it comes with BCAAs, which is certainly not a common pre-workout ingredient, but that was something that bodybuilding.com had in the original Scream. So it kind of makes sense, and it's a nice little, nod to the original. The full profile packs 6 grams of pure citrulline for pumps. As mentioned, BCAAs at 5 grams. There's also Creapure creatine in there, carnosine beta-alanine, tyrosine, PKTP, choline. Is a whole bunch of just pretty well-rounded, reasonably well-dosed ingredients. You can check out the whole lot on the site. Just go to Stack and just search for Scream. But the product is now available at bodybuilding.com. Its regular price is $39.99, but not too long after we actually shared the product, it was included in a sale where you got 25% off, and that dropped it to $29.99, so $30, which made it a significantly more competitive. And that is for a whole tub of 20 servings. And so this isn't like a 40-20 split, it's just 20 full servings. You don't need to double it or anything like that. So it's obviously not as cheap as a 30 serving at $30, but again, they've made up for that by, I guess, giving you these full doses of ingredients. And it's the 20 serving trend is definitely something we've seen from a lot of other brands, so they're fitting into the crowd with that. The last area, or the last topic we're going to touch on for this episode, is in regards to an all-new brand called HD Muscle. Now, we first heard about these guys a few weeks ago, I think it was. They tagged us on Instagram, and they didn't really include a lot of information, and we reached out and they didn't really kind of provide any more even when we reached out, just that they were going to be coming out with a line of supplements. This past week, that brand finally became available, and it is an impressive brand to say the least. For someone that I didn't really know much about and didn't hear anything about in terms of when it was launching, they've kind of surprised the hell out of me. It's a very new brand. It's an all new brand, and they've kind of kicked off their launch with a full range of supplements. So they haven't just hit with a pre-workout or anything like that. They have a pre-workout, 2 pre-workouts actually, a fat burner, an amino, a carbohydrate, and a GDA. And they do have even more coming soon with a vitamin and a high stim pre-workout. Just to give you an idea on what I mean by very surprising, is that this brand has just loaded the crap out of their supplements in terms of dosing. And on the site, if you just search HD Muscle, you'll see that we use their pre-workouts as an example, and they are as good of an example as you can get. There's 2 pre-workouts, as mentioned. There is Pre-HD Ultra and Pre-HD Elite. Ultra is the stim and Elite is the stim free. Now, just to give you an idea on how big of a dose we're talking, both of those products come with 8 grams of straight citrulline, not citrulline malate, 8 grams of straight citrulline, which is, I'm pretty sure, one of, if not the second highest dose I've seen. I know Inspired did 8 grams a while back. I have seen 9 grams, but that 8 grams is huge. Like, most people sit around 6, and that's just kind of one of the ingredients. They've also included S7 in both supplements at 100 milligrams as opposed to the typical 50. Glycerol is also in the products. In the, I believe it's in the stim-free version. It's dosed at 3 grams, and then the stimulant version is dosed at 2 grams, also solid doses. They've also included Pico 2 in the stimulant pre-workout at its usual 2 grams. If you go to the site, you can see a pretty good example because, like I said, there are quite a few ingredients in these, and they're all dosed pretty damn well. Obviously, like most pre-workouts, you have the Pre-HD Ultra, the Stim one, which is essentially more for the full experience with energy, focus, pumps, and performance, while the stimulant-free one, being stimulant-free, it's not at all really energy focused. It intends to deliver more of a performance, pump, and mental focus type experience. But yeah, you can check out both of those formulas on the site. But as mentioned, these are just examples. The rest of the brand supplements are equally well put together. We even mentioned its EAA, or its intra-workout, intra-HD, is also loaded. It includes 10 grams of EAAs, that's all 9 EAAs, along with Pico 2, and its carbohydrate supplement, which, as straightforward as carbohydrate formulas are typically, they've gone for a kind of high-quality route by making their carbohydrate formula with, premium sources such as Carb10 and clostridextrin. But again, you can just go to the Stacked and just search HD Muscle. You'll find our story on them and a link to this site, and you can just check out all of their supplements in detail. And as it's a very impressive looking brand, especially for someone that's just kind of shot out of the gate. It has big athletes, big athletes back in it. Antoine, I'm not too sure on how to pronounce his last name, but Valance, he was previously with Recon 1. He's with this brand, so is another popular fitness influencer, Brandon Harding. So there's quite a few names involved in this, but I'm excited to see where this brand goes. I believe we're getting some of the supplements to try. I imagine they deliver like crazy. But again, they have hit the market with just a well-rounded, very well put together set of supplements. And this is kind of just the start. I know I said there was a high stim pre-workout coming in, a vitamin, but that's just apparently just the start. There will be more coming, I believe, later in the year, and we'll be sharing all of that news on the site as per usual. For now, that is it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back again next week, hopefully earlier than we were this week. And yeah, thank you.